My name is Miranda and welcome to another video. Also, welcome back to Wales. Yeah, it's already been almost 2 months since I've been back in the UK and this is the first time I'm filming since coming back. It's been a pretty busy 2 months. I've come back. I'm now in my second year of my master's, which means I'm now starting my dissertation. I spent a few nights in London when I first came back. I even went to Harry Potter Studios for a day. So I've been back for 2 months and I'm going to film my first video now that I'm back, and I'm going to film what I read in both September and October because, quite frankly, I did not read much for both months. A lot of it has to do with my travel because, like I said, I spent a few days in London, and if I'll be honest, I spent way too much time doing way too many different things. And then, of course, like I said, I'm back. I'm in my second year of my master's now, which means I'm now writing my dissertation. I've been spending a lot of time researching and reading up on my dissertation topic more than anything else. So combining both September and October, I only read 5 books. Yeah, probably not my most impressive. But like I said, I have a lot of other reading I have to get done, and those ones kind of take priority. The first book of the 5 that I finished was A Reaper at the Gate by Sabaa Tahir, and I have to say I loved this book so much more than Torch Against the Night. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. It did, of course, take me longer to finish it than I had planned. I had hoped to finish it in August. I didn't finish it until the beginning of September. Again, same thing, it was very Roman. I had to take an extended break. Also, I just had a lot of library books I decided to take out at home for some reason, so I had to finish those first. I can't say too much about this book. It is the 3rd book in the Ember and the Ashes Quartet, but I will say that this book was phenomenal. I even think it's better than the first book. The characters had many difficult decisions they had to make. They had many, many challenges that came up, and the ending was phenomenal in this book. I'm both highly anticipating the last book and terrified of it at the exact same time, which for Sabaa Tahir might be a compliment. The second book I finished was Stormglass by Maria V. Schneider, and that is the first book in the Stormglass series, or the Glass series. I'm not entirely sure what its official name is anymore. So this is the first book in the spin-off series after the Poison Study series, so this is the one I should have read before I read Shadow Study. So I read the first book while I was at home. I absolutely loved it. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars, and I don't know when I'm going to be able to continue the series because apparently my online library does not have book 2 now. I don't know why they decided to do this. I don't know. I think they're personally torturing me. For those of you who've never heard of Stormglass, this book follows Opal, the character from the Study series who shows up in the second book. Opal doesn't have a lot of powers like a lot of other people in this series, but she has a very specific power with glass. She's able to siphon magic into glass, and that is very valuable in their world because they're now able to use these magical glass pieces that she creates in order to communicate across vast distances. In Stormglass, Opal's expertise is needed because there is a problem with the glass orbs created for the storm dancers that they use in order to collect storms that both protect their coastal cities from very, very terrible storms, and also these orbs are used to create power, and that is their industry. So Opal is called in because these orbs are breaking as their storm energy is being siphoned into it, and whenever these orbs break, a storm dancer dies. This is, as I said, the first book in the Glass series. There are 2 more books that follow. Again, don't know when I'm going to get to them. I have been spoiled a little bit as to what's happened because I did read Shadow Study, so I kind of know what happens because that book talked about events that happens in this series. If I'm being honest, I don't remember that well because I didn't understand what they were talking about anyway, so I might still be surprised as to where this series goes. The 3rd book that I finished, and oh, I mildly regret this, I read By a Charm and a Curse by Jamie Quistel. I really hope I pronounced that last name correctly. This book follows a girl who accidentally gets cursed by a circus and has to be the circus's new girl in a box. Now that is the curse of the circus. There's someone who has to be this girl or boy in the box. They can't leave. They're essentially now immortal, really not human in any way. The charm, however, is that the other inhabitants of this circus cannot be harmed because they need to protect this boy or girl in the box. So no accidents happen, they don't get sick, they don't grow old. Of course, in this book, the girl who has accidentally been cursed to become this new girl in the box is really not happy about it. And she hates being cursed so much that she decides she's going to break it with the help of one other person who is a part of the circus, and he doesn't care much for the charm. He thinks it's a little weird. He also just really doesn't want to stay there. So I will be honest with you, I gave this book a 2 out of 5 stars, and I started mainly scan reading it by about the halfway point because I just really did not care for the story by then. There was nothing I really liked about it. The thing I liked best was when the girl became the girl in the box. I thought that part was amazing. It was beautifully written, and it was heartbreaking. After that, the book just went extremely downhill for me, and I kind of gave up actually reading it. I didn't really care very much for this book. It wasn't, in my opinion, a really good book. It wasn't a terrible book. It just wasn't a very great book, which was sad because the concept was really interesting. The story sounds amazing. You read the synopsis on Goodreads, the story sounds amazing, but I just don't feel like it was executed very well. So I am a little sad, but I only gave it a 2 out of 5 stars. I really think it could have been a lot better. And no, I do not remember how the curse is broken anymore. I don't remember much of this book after about the halfway point because I just didn't care anymore. The only thing I really remember is when the girl gets cursed because that was the best part. After that, it's a blur. Yeah, if a book leaves that little of an impression on you, you know how you feel about it. The 4th book that I finished was Crazy Rich Asians by Kevin Kwan. So I read this book after seeing the movie. I decided to go see the movie for my birthday. I made a bunch of my friends go with me. And I have to say, I loved this book, and I'm kind of sad a few scenes from the book did not make it into the movie. It was laugh out loud funny, it was comforting, it was fun. I'll be honest, I would gladly read this book again. For the few who have never heard of Crazy Rich Asians, it has quite a few characters, a couple different storylines, the main storyline of which follows Rachel Chu as she goes to Singapore with her boyfriend Nicholas Young. She meets his family, and she's there for the wedding of his best friend. And once there, she finds out Nicholas is extremely rich. And since Rachel does not come from a rich family, that means a few people don't like her very much. There's a lot of scandal in this book. There's a lot of over-excessive, well, everything essentially. There's also some very beautiful imagery. Like, I kind of adored the imagery that was described in this book. It sounded exquisite. And I think the movie did a really good job of portraying that. My rating for this book was 4 out of 5. As I said, I absolutely loved it. I loved it maybe not quite as much as the movie, because quite frankly, the movie was just so entertaining. But I did think the book had quite a bit that the movie did not. It was laugh out loud funny. There were so many scenes that were in the book that never made it into the movie that I'm personally a little sad about. And I'm very excited to read the next book, although I still have a while to wait as I'm 100th and something in line on the holds for the online library. So it's gonna be a while. The 5th and final book that I finished, and I did technically finish it November 1st, but there was so little I had left, I'm going to count it for October, and that was I Darkened by Kirsten White. So I want to go on record right now as saying I do not think this was a really bad book. I just do not think it was the best one I've read. I was very excited about this book. As I mentioned in my top 10 old favorites, Kirsten White's Paranormalcy series is one of my favorites of all time. So I was very excited for this book, particularly because this book is a YA historical fiction where Vlad Dracula becomes a woman. Yeah, no, that intrigued me so much. I was so excited for this. I thought the concept was phenomenal, but there were some parts of this book I didn't like a lot. I don't know a lot about this section in history, so I don't really know how accurate a lot of it is. That's not my specialty. My specialty is a lot older, but there are definitely a few things that made me wonder. As I said, this is a YA historical fiction novel, so there are almost always liberties taken with historical fiction. I know this, I understand this, I can usually separate myself from it, which is why I can still enjoy a lot of historical fiction. A lot of them are usually what-ifs. I will say though that it does seem like the author did a lot of historical research. I read the author's note in the back where she did talk about it, and I am very impressed that she went through the amount of research she did. I absolutely adored the ending. The ending had so much drama in it that I am very excited to read the next book because I do want to see where this goes. I want to see now that... I am not even going to attempt to pronounce her actual full name, so we're going to stick to her nickname, Lada. Yeah, no, I accept the fact that I have a problem pronouncing names, so we're just going to stick with the easiest pronunciation that this book has. But yeah, I'm excited to see what happens with Lada. I'm excited to see what happens with her brother Radu, and I'm really excited to see what happens to Mehmet? The other main character. Let's see where all their decisions lead. Let's see who ends up the most heartbroken by the end of this. My final verdict for this book, it wasn't terrible. It wasn't amazing. I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars because I did enjoy it, but there were some moments I couldn't really care less for. So there you have it. Those are the 5 books I read in both September and October. Yeah, so not really a lot, but as I said, I'm now in my 2nd year. I have my dissertation going. I have a lot of readings for that. And no, I do not have set TBRs for the next few months. I'm pretty much just going to be going with whatever catches my interest and is something that I can read. And if I have to take really long breaks, I won't forget what I just read. I'll be lucky if I finish 3 books each month at this point. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more videos by me, both bookish and travel related, please be sure to click that subscribe button down below. And I'll see you next time. Bye!